The American M113 armored personnel carrier emerged as one of the most prominent vehicles of the Cold War era, boasting a staggering operational presence across more than 60 countries and a production tally surpassing 80,000 units. Introduced into active duty in 1960, it played pivotal roles alongside American and Australian forces throughout the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. Its global significance soared as it saw combat across diverse theaters, including the Yom Kippur War, 1973, the Invasion of Panama, 1989 to 1990, the Iran-Iraq War, 1980 to 1988, the Persian Gulf War, 1991, the war in Kosovo, 1998 to 1999, as well as ongoing conflicts in Afghanistan, 2001-present, and Iraq, 2003 to 2011, alongside lesser-known skirmishes. The platform's versatility extended beyond expectation, spawning numerous specialized variants for varied battlefield roles. Despite its original design dating back to the 1950s, the M113 remains a frontline asset for many nations even today, as of 2014, a testament to its enduring utility and adaptability. Development of the 13.5-ton tracked vehicle commenced in 1956 in response to a U.S. Army requirement for an air-transportable armored personnel carrier, APC. The aim was to create a vehicle compact enough to be accommodated within the cargo hold of a Lockheed C-130 Hercules transport aircraft or similar. FMC Corporation, Food Machinery and Chemical Corporation, presented two potential prototypes, the aluminum T-113 and the steel T-117. Following evaluation, the Army opted for the aluminum variant, marking it as the first armored military vehicle primarily constructed from aluminum, a departure from the traditional use of steel. This aluminum prototype evolved into the production model designated as the M113, which was standardized in the U.S. Army inventory by 1959, subsequently replacing the FMC M59 APCs then in service. Production of the M113 commenced in 1960 at FMC San Jose, with early models featuring a gasoline-powered engine, a pintle-mounted 0.50 caliber M2 Browning heavy machine gun, and amphibious capabilities, powered in water by its track's motion. The driver occupied a position at the front left of the boxy hull superstructure, accessible through a roof hatch, with 4 periscopes for viewing when buttoned down and an infrared scope for low-light operations. Steering was accomplished using traditional levers. The glassy plate offered mild sloping for basic ballistics protection, while the remaining hull sides were vertical. A hydraulically powered ramp at the rear facilitated passenger cabin access, with an additional smaller access door within its frame. The vehicle commander, positioned behind the driver, had a dedicated roof hatch, 5 periscopes for situational awareness, and a standard 0.50 caliber M2 Browning heavy machine gun. Occupants could engage in firefighting through a hatch over the passenger cabin. Internally, the power pack was located in the front right of the hull alongside the drive sprocket, with 5 road wheels per hull side and a track idler at the rear. In addition to the 2 crew members, the rear cabin accommodated 11 infantry. Armor protection varied from 12 mm to 38 mm. These vehicles achieved operational readiness between 1962 and 1963. In May of 1963, production transitioned to a diesel-fueled version known as the M113A1, equipped with a Detroit Diesel 6V53V6 engine. This shift reduced the risk of fire if the vehicle was pierced in combat and extended operational road ranges. The new engine was paired with an Allison TX100 transmission system. The M113A1 variant began to appear in significant numbers from 1964 onward. The developmental M113E1 introduced further enhancements to the base design, including improved suspension and engine cooling. It showcased features and qualities that would become standard in future iterations of the M113. The next significant advancement in the M113 series occurred after the Vietnam War, in 1979, with the introduction of the M113A2 variant. Engineers aimed to enhance the performance of the existing vehicle, which was by then nearly 2 decades old. While externally similar to its A1 counterpart, the M113A2 distinguished itself through a series of improvements. The suspension system underwent a thorough overhaul, resulting in increased ground clearance, and engine cooling received further attention. Optional externally mounted fuel tanks were introduced, enhancing operational ranges, and these tanks were positioned on either side of the rear ramp door. Additionally, a turbo-supercharger was integrated into the engine, and an Allison X200-3 cross-drive transmission was adopted. These modifications extended the length of the M113 hull by nearly 1.5 feet and added approximately 900 pounds in weight. In 1987, the M113 line underwent a significant overhaul with the introduction of the new M113A3 model. This version featured the pairing of the Allison X200-4 transmission system with the all-new Detroit Diesel 6V53T turbocharged diesel engine. Further enhancements to the suspension system were implemented, and the optional external fuel tanks became standard equipment. Internal fuel tanks were equipped with spall liners to enhance protection for the crew and passengers. The traditional steering levers were replaced by a more conventional automobile-style wheel with foot pedals. Additionally, support for the P900 armor kit was introduced, offering increased protection against emerging battlefield threats of the period. Production of the M113 initially ceased in 1992, but subsequent orders allowed for continued manufacturing. Additionally, license production took place in Italy by Oto Melara and in Belgium by BMF. The final purchases of M113s by the U.S. Army occurred in 2007, with the service maintaining several thousand units in its fleet, many of which are A2 and A3 models upgraded for improved range, firepower, performance, and survivability, including the use of applique armor kits. Although no direct successor has been identified, several developments have emerged as potential replacements, including the proposed Armored Multi-Purpose Vehicle, AMPV, with the original proposal request emerging in early 2013. As mentioned earlier, the chassis, and sometimes hull, of the M113 has been repurposed into numerous other valuable battlefield roles. Examples include the M58 Wolf smoke screen generator vehicle and the M106/M125 mortar carriers. The M150 was equipped with the TOW Anti-Tank Guided Missile, ATGM, launcher, later evolving into the M901 ITV, improved TOW vehicle. The M113 platform served as the basis for the M163 20mm Vulcan air defense vehicle and the M48 Chaparral air defense missile carrier. The M548 was utilized as a cargo hauler, the M577 as a dedicated command vehicle, and the M579 as a repair vehicle. The M806 was developed into an Armored Recovery Vehicle, ARV, while the M981 FIST-V, Fire Support Team, vehicle, was based on the M901. The M132 line was designed as a dedicated flame tank, and the XM734 was proposed as an infantry fighting vehicle, IFV. Variants extend beyond this list due to operator requirements and locally produced or modified versions. Examples of international variants include the ACV-300, a Turkish version of the M113, and the Taiha, a Pakistani model. Italy utilizes the VCC-1, while Norway employs the NM135/NM142 designations for the M113A1 and M113A2, respectively. Despite its resemblance to the M113, the M114 was a distinct tracked vehicle adopted by the U.S. Army, designed for reconnaissance missions and smaller in size. Alongside the M114, the M75, 1952, and M59, 1953, APCs also featured a similar shape. The M59 served as the successor to the M75, eventually being replaced by the M113.